Welcome back, everyone. It's me. Once upon a time, in a quiet little village, there lived a woman with 3 daughters. 2 of them were her favorites. The eldest was named Lena, who had only 1 eye, and the youngest was named Trina, who had 3 eyes. Their mother adored them and gave them whatever they wished for, but the middle daughter, Clara, was different. Clara had 2 eyes, just like ordinary people, and for that reason alone, her mother and sisters despised her. They gave her worn-out clothes to wear, only scraps of food to eat, and endless chores to do. They wanted her to feel unloved and unwanted, yet despite all their cruelty, Clara remained gentle, kind, and full of love for others. Even when she had very little, she would share it with the birds and small creatures around her. "I am sorry this isn't much," she would whisper to the little sparrows, "but you may have my food." One day, after her sisters had finished their meal, Clara sat at the table to nibble on the leftovers. But Lena sneered and said, "Since Clara has 2 eyes, like common people, she does not belong with us." Trina laughed loudly and added, "You're right. Go away, Clara. You don't belong at our table." Hurt by their words, Clara ran outside with tears streaming down her face. As she cried, a soft light suddenly shone before her, and out of it appeared an old fairy. She wore a cloak that sparkled in the sun and carried a staff made of precious stones. The fairy looked kindly at her and asked, "Why do you weep, my child?" Clara bowed her head and answered, "My mother and sisters hate me for having 2 eyes. They give me only scraps to eat and treat me with cruelty." The fairy smiled gently and said, "Do not weep, dear Clara. I will give you something special. Take this stick. Whenever you are hungry, tap it and speak these words. Magic stick, hop to my beat, cover the table with something to eat. At once, a table full of delicious food will appear, and when you have eaten enough, say, 'Magic stick, hear me pray, take the table quite away.' Then the table will vanish again." Amazed, Clara thanked the fairy, who vanished as quickly as she had come. Eager to try the gift, Clara tapped the stick on the ground and spoke the spell. To her wonder, the stick glowed and transformed into a beautiful little table, filled with dishes, more delicious than anything she had ever seen. For the first time, Clara ate until she was full, and her heart overflowed with joy. From that day on, she no longer touched the scraps at home, for whenever she was hungry, she would go to the field, chant the spell, and enjoy her meal in peace. But it did not take long for Lena and Trina to notice that Clara never ate their leftovers anymore. Suspicious, they whispered to each other, "She must have found another way to eat. Let us follow her tomorrow." So, the next day, they crept quietly behind Clara as she walked to the field. Hidden among the bushes, they watched in disbelief as Clara tapped the stick and chanted the magic words. Before their very eyes, a grand feast appeared. Furious and jealous, they rushed back to tell their mother. When Clara returned home that evening, her mother was waiting with anger in her eyes. She snatched the stick from Clara's hands and broke it into pieces. "No!" Clara cried. "Please don't." But her mother only said, "This will teach you not to keep secrets from us. Now you will go hungry again." Heartbroken, Clara gathered the broken pieces and ran into the garden. As she wept, she heard the fairy's voice once more. "Do not despair, Clara. Bury the pieces where the moonlight shines brightest, and trust that good fortune will come." Clara obeyed, and under the soft silver light of the moon, she buried the pieces deep in the soil. The next morning, Clara, her mother and sisters were astonished to see that in the very place Clara had buried the stick, there now stood a magnificent tree. Its leaves shimmered like silver, and its fruits glowed like pure gold. Never had they seen such beauty. At once, Lena and Trina tried to pluck the golden fruits, but each time they reached out, the branches bent away from them. Exhausted, they gave up. Then Clara gently stepped forward, and to their amazement, the tree bent its branches down toward her, offering her the shining fruits. She picked them easily and handed them to her mother, hoping to win her love. But instead of gratitude, jealousy only grew in their hearts, for they could not bear that only Clara was chosen by the tree. Not long after, a handsome young knight named Adrian passed by and saw the glittering tree. Stopping in wonder, he called out, "What a marvelous tree! Whomever can bring me a branch from it shall receive any reward they wish." Lena and Trina rushed forward, eager to impress him. But no matter how hard they tried, the branches bent away. The knight frowned. "Strange indeed, that you claim the tree is yours, and yet cannot take even a twig. I must be on my way." That night, Clara sat beneath the tree and whispered softly, "If only I could have given him a branch, perhaps he would see me too, not as plain Clara, but with love." At that moment, the fairy's voice floated through the branches once again. "Dear Clara, your kindness has never faded, even in sorrow. If this is your heart's wish, it shall be granted. Take one silver leaf and place it upon your dress." Clara did as she was told, and in an instant, her ragged clothes turned into a gown, more beautiful than any princess's, woven with silver leaves and ruby roses. A glowing leaf floated down, growing large enough for her to sit upon. Gently, it carried her into the night sky, past the moon and stars, until it set her upon the knight's balcony. When she stepped down, the leaf turned into a silver branch with a golden fruit hanging from it. Holding it in her hands, Clara called softly, "My lord, I bring you the branch you desired." Adrian came out and was struck speechless by her beauty. "Who are you, fair maiden?" he asked. Clara lowered her eyes and replied, "I am Clara. My mother and sisters treated me cruelly for being different, but I ask only for kindness. And perhaps, if your heart allows it, your hand." The knight's heart filled with compassion and admiration. "Cruelty shall touch you no more," he declared. "From this day forward, you shall be my bride." And so, the very next day, Clara and Adrian were married in a grand celebration. People came from far and wide to admire the once-forgotten daughter, who had suffered in silence, yet won love through her kindness. Clara forgave her mother and sisters. Choosing not to let hatred live in her heart, she became a queen, beloved by her people, and she and Adrian built a life full of joy, respect, and love. And so, they lived happily ever after, proving that true beauty is not in how we look, but in the kindness we carry within us. And now for a little magic. As the sun sets tonight, hold a candle to the moon and repeat this story to the flickering flame. Do it exactly as I say, and the wish trapped inside the flame will be set free. But remember, the magic happens only when the moon is full. What do you wish for? Freedom, courage, or love? Only you know which magic you need. Close your eyes, make your wish, and release the magic into the world. The great moon is watching and listening. It will grant your heart's desire. Will you use the magic wisely?